Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher. In this video, I would like to talk about how I became MGTOW, I suppose you could say. Origin story, as it were, at least in a sense. Going from one thing to another. Nothing particularly dramatic. We're not talking Batman type origin story or anything like that. But I think a lot of listeners out there don't really know very much about me, just the videos I've made and my viewpoints. But I thought they might find it interesting. I thought you, my listeners, might find it interesting to know what exactly led me to be a bachelor, essentially. Let me think back. I would say it was about 10, 11 years ago. Wasn't really a young man then, even. I was younger. And basically it achieved what I wanted to with my life. And first I should hearken back to when I was younger. Actually young. As opposed to now, essentially. So, when I was a young man, I had a lot of drive, a lot of ambition. Something a lot of young guys today, unfortunately, do not have. Something that's unfortunately lacking in a lot of younger men today. I wish that wasn't the case, but sadly it is. A lot of young guys these days place too much importance on things like women and family, and especially too early on in their lives. And of course, if you go back 25 years, things were a little different. Not a lot different, unfortunately. But people, it was still bad for a man to get married even back then. So, yeah, I was very committed to getting a career, and back at that time, there was no Tom Likas, there was no MGTOW, there was no anything like that. I mean, you had bachelors, and that was about it, but, they were always frowned upon, still frowned upon, and, but I wanted to be successful in my life, and I knew that getting married and being what I wanted to be were not a compatible thing. The career that I wanted to go into, which I'm not going to get into in this video, it's not relevant, but the career that I wanted to get into was very time-consuming, lots and lots of work, lots and lots of hours, and lots of, that's right, sacrifices. It seems like for a man, no matter what he does, he's going to have to sacrifice. He gets married, he's going to be sacrificing. If he doesn't get married, he's going to be sacrificing. There's no big daddy government there to take care of him. There's no safety net for him. He loses his job. He doesn't have money in the bank. It's homeless time. So, yeah. So I knew that for me, I wanted to pursue my career, and I knew that if I got married, and by the way, that's always something that's expected of you, of course. 25 years ago, yeah, even more so. But, and you feel pressure to do what's expected of you. And I had an opportunity way back then, and I said, no. I want to pursue my career, I'm still too young. I want to make a lot of money. I want to eventually have my own business. I want to be my own boss someday. I want to get a lot of experience in my chosen field. If I have kids with you, if I marry you, it's like, that's not going to happen. So I tried to do the juggle, okay, I have a relationship and all that. But women don't like that, They complain if you don't make a lot of money. And then if you do, they complain because you're not there. You're not there enough. Where are you? Why aren't you here? Because I'm there making money. Wait, what are you? So you'll never please them, making them happy. And of course, if you don't sign that piece of paper, eventually they're just going to hit the bricks because no matter how much they love you or care about you. And I figured this out early on, that no matter how much, and this was 25, 26 years ago, I figured this out. well before a lot of you guys and well before there was any quote-unquote MGTOW term, I figured out that this something ain't right here. She says she loves you, and you love her, but, everything comes down to that piece of paper. And if you don't sign that piece of paper, she's just off and away. But wait a second, I said to myself, when I was a young man, I said to myself, this ain't right. Something's not right here. I mean, if it's love, what do you need this piece of paper for? I was like, I remember one day I said it to her. I was like, well, you know, we don't need to get married, right? I mean, Jesus Christ, we're already living together. We're already, in a relationship. Why do you need to be married? And she's like, because you love me, I love you. It's a commitment. It doesn't mean anything without the paper and the ring and the ceremony. I was just like, I don't agree. Of course, she didn't like that. And as time passed and years passed, she just said, no. I'm tired of not being first in your life. As I worked more, and yeah, I made more money, and we had a great lifestyle, and, she had her little career. It was a job. Career. Give me a break. I mean, she would career my ass. She would get sick, and she wouldn't work, and, she would take sick days, and it was like, oh, my God, this is nonsense. No wonder she's not going anywhere. I mean, she doesn't have the type of driving ambition I do. It didn't matter. I was sick. I would go to work. It didn't matter. I think in a 7-year period, I missed one day of work because I got sick. And I mean, if you want to, as a man, be successful, you don't miss work, okay? It's that simple. You don't miss work. But it requires a lot of work and sacrifice. Oh, and we had great life and nice house and no wonderful lifestyle, but she was like, he's never here. I'm never there because I'm fulfilling my dreams. And eventually it just became too much. And I said, you know what, this is just, I'm getting tired of the complaining, always complaining. I was just like, I don't need this. And I'm still not where I want to be. I can be so much higher. I'm climbing the ranks, baby. I'm real good at what I do, and I'm getting even better. So I'd had it, and I cut her loose. Did I care about her? Yeah. Would it have been nice if I could have had both? Yeah. But it wasn't possible, because I was just getting more and more unhappy. And I said to myself, I'm making a pretty good living now, and I'm going to make even more money in the years to come. Why in the hell am I spending this time with a woman who's becoming increasingly detrimental to my life, my lifestyle, my mental well-being? Why am I tolerating this crap? Did I love her? Yeah. Did she love me? I thought so. But, you never can really tell with a woman. They'll tell you whatever they need to tell you, want to tell you to get what they want, what they need, So I cut her loose. And you know what? Things got better. I woke up in the morning. Oh, there's nobody in the bed with me. And believe it or not, that's not a bad thing. Because then you're free to fill that space with whatever random chick you meet. So instead of there being not just the same chick every day, every night in the bed with me, it was sometimes different chicks, sometimes no chick, sometimes I would just have the bed all to myself, this big giant king-size bed, and I could swim around in the fucking thing. Oh, it was great. Oh, I loved it. And it was my house, by the way, and I paid for that motherfucker. She didn't pay a dime. And this was back, of course, when you could still, change locks. You could kick a broad out or something. I didn't do that. I mean, she transitioned out slowly, found her own place and all that. I'm not some heartless guy, and we had a history. But, after that, it was just like, yeah, I'm free. And I see that I was a slave before. Imagine how much of a slave I would have been if I'd actually signed those papers and put that ring on her finger. Oh, my God. And fast forward about 10 years. Yeah, maybe 10, 11 years. But this would have still, fast forward 10 or 11 years, which was still about 10 or 11 years ago. right? Okay, meet somebody new, and I like her. I like her a lot, and I've made it, baby. I'm where I want to be. I'm making great money. I'm doing well, and of course, I make the stupid mistake of living with another chick. And boy, oh boy, I tell you, it was a big friggin' mistake. Big mistake. Now, men make dumb decisions in life, you know? They do. They do. And that was a big one. This was about 11 years ago. And I'll tell you, that didn't last very long. The relationship itself lasted for several years. But I made a mistake that ended the relationship. I let her live with me. You know, dumb. And I said to myself, you know, I'm where I want to be now in my job. I don't have my hours aren't as long. I'm in a upper echelon position now. I don't have to work as many hours. You know, I'm rationalizing to myself essentially, and I wanted her to be with me. And then, of course, you know, I learned real quick, though. She moved in, and it just was like, oh, who is this woman? It was like a switch went off. And she went from great to, you know, cold as ice. I was just like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened to this broad? You know, we've been dating for years now, and it's like, it's pretty good. And, you know, now what's happened, it's like, shit, this is not good. This got worse. I said to myself, marriage? No way. And I realized that this way. Now, you know, you kind of, and I remembered the woman I had been with before. And I said to myself, you know, okay, 10, 11 years later, that now I'm in a position maybe I can do more in my personal life because I've made it. I've gotten to where I want to be in my career. I still can go higher, but this is where I want to be. I mean, I'm really in a good place right now, and it's not as much sacrificing, and it's not as many, you know, 60, 70-hour weeks. So, you know, it's normal now. It's more or less normal. I can have both, but you know what? Once she moved in, I realized they didn't want both anymore. I had my freedom. And I didn't want to lose it. And I also realized at that point that, you know, most women are really not too honest. They're really not too honest, these creatures. And I already knew this. Really. You learn these things. But guess I hadn't been fully red-pilled maybe. Thought I had, but, you know, obviously not. But at that moment, it just hit me that I don't want this anymore. And over the past, you know, decade or so, since my last really serious relationship, I've come to the conclusion that this is not a good arrangement. It's not good. It's not good, you know. It's not good for me. It might be good for her, but this broad changed. And it's like they all, you know, I don't know that all, I mean, the woman I'd been with prior, she'd been more or less the same, but it got steadily worse, as I said, because just she became more and more difficult and more difficult to please. And to varying degrees, that's all women. I mean, there's a reason that they say all women are like that. Now, again, degrees vary, but if you're a man who's especially in a successful career these days, women, there's just something about them that they really are the most strange, contrary, selfish fucking creatures. On the one hand, they want a man that's successful, and they want a man who's doing very well in life. But on the other hand, if you do well and you are successful, then they kind of resent you for A, not being there, and these days, B, they kind of resent you for being more successful than they are. It's like you can't win with this women's liberation crap. It's almost like women are trying to compete with you, and they can't. So on one hand, they want you to have the money and have the nice stuff. But on the other hand, it's like, I'm not as successful as you. My job doesn't pay as well as yours. Ooh. And they resent you. So you really can't win these days because women have went kind of from being women to men. And this chick, I only had her living with me for a few months. And it was just like, bye-bye. And this one I did kick out. This one I pooted out with the fucking foot and a size 12 motherfucking boot right up her ass. So she just got on my nerves one day. And I just said, there's the door, bitch. Well, not in those terms, not in those exact words, but that was the gist of it. And I helped her move her shit out. And she was gone like, quick. But yeah, and that was the last time I ever had a woman live with me, the last time I ever entertained the idea of living with a woman, and that was over a decade ago, and I have been free as a bird ever since. And it was these experiences that led me to the conclusion. The first with a woman I really cared about, who kind of came into my life at a time when I was just starting to be successful. And had to work way too much. And I, still somewhere in my head thought that I could have everything and I could still be free. And, the reason we're just having these, I just have too much work. It's the wrong time. But then later I really discovered, no, there is no right time. Not with the way things are now for men. It's just no way. It makes no difference how much time I have, how successful I am, how successful I ain't. It's just not conducive to a man's well-being to be in a serious relationship with a woman. Don't live with them. Don't marry them. Don't have kids with them. Don't spend money on them. I really found out that these things, it doesn't matter. They'll never be happy. So that's kind of the boring story, I suppose, of my red pilling. Suppose I could have went into more detail. Yeah. But that's the general gist of it. That's actually the short story of it. There's a hell of a lot more details, but I'm not going to bore you guys anymore. So hope you find that interesting. Maybe it tells you a little more about me and where I'm coming from as a man. So I'm the MGTOW philosopher. I wish you guys a good day. Take care.